Burnout is a real issue that many of us face in our lives, whether it's the situation we're in, the dire habits we do, or in particular, just this feeling that you can't get over something. It plagues many of us, and in particular with authors, it's a huge issue when it comes to doing something as hard as writing a book. With the process of writing a book taking much of our own creative mind and making sure we do everything in our power to get done what we need, it's best to understand how burnout works so we could not only avoid this habit, but to stay consistent on writing for the rest of your life. Welcome back to another video, and in this point, I'm here to explain this message of burnout, how to avoid it as an author, whether you're someone new or someone experienced, and in particular, use the real habits you go through each and every day to live a more fulfilling life as the writer you are. If you don't know me, I am Arnel Arcega. I'm an author, writer, and educator. To make sure that people are motivated in the world. Regardless of how you feel, much of the world is pretty dumb. Let's be honest, especially in America, the stats show that a lot of people are illiterate and schools aren't helping out in this system. In my case, I'm doing my part to fulfill this small need. And if you want to help me fulfill this role of just educating people to be smarter with books in particular, then you can check me out on the Instagram down below so I can help you personally write your own book or to get started on these healthier habits as an author and reader. Whatever the case is, so long as you can help me out, I can help you. Regardless, let's get on to how to avoid burnout and be a successful author in the first place. Writer's block or burnout is a very loose term that many authors face, and we can group it together in such a unique way. If you're someone new to this field, you've experienced this before with creative blocks and just writer's block in particular. I made a video explaining how to avoid writer's block, but taking the notion of that video, we need to delegate your own habits, the habits you do in your everyday life, to not only tell a more fulfilling life as a story, but to also be more satisfied with what you do. In particular, the easiest ways to do this is focus on health, focus on wealth, and focus on just good habits in general. I know that there's plenty of things that come with being an author, and one of the most notable ones is staying consistent on the book. The book is your main priority as an author. It's not about changing the title. It's not about changing the fonts. It's just writing the book. Whatever idea you have in mind, whether it's a non-fictional story that can help educate people like myself with these YouTube videos, or on the other side of the coin, a fictional story that can help implement what's right, these pieces of work will allow you to be more fulfilled as an author. Taking in this notion of just writing an idea, you just need to type it all away. It doesn't matter what software you use. I personally use Google Docs, but Microsoft Word and other pieces are great in just starting this system of being a writer, and in particular, an author. Authors come in the form of just books and novels. And with that in mind, it's easy to break this down simply because by knowing the structure of an author's work, we can help them out to avoid burnout. Now, coming as a writer and coming as an author, it's best to understand that many of us deal with burnout in our own day-to-day life. If I have to be honest, in these past several weeks, I haven't worked on what I needed to. And I really, truly wanted to get back on this system, but I didn't know how. I experimented with myself throughout these past several days, and looking at the progress I've done with my own book, I figured out the best way to get started to avoiding burnout, both at a creative and a consistent level. Let's start with the creative level. To build this healthy balance of life, we need to just figure out what's going on with you. I don't know if you can see it. Let's say that you're this tiny stick figure here. You start at this very low bottom, and we need to build a clear trajectory upwards. So long as you can build this trajectory upwards, our life will go up much more better. Therefore, our writing will be a lot more consistent, and you start out in a much more easy manner. How do we go up this upstream though in our own day-to-day life? Well, we know the habits we do. In my own previous examples, I've been mentioning the idea of nurture your nature. For those who don't know, nurture your nature is an idea that I've coined in which you take the nature of your life, the nature of your habits, your environment, and the simple situation you find yourself in each and every day, and nurture it to the best possible outcome. Let's say, as much as you want to write your book, you are in the habit of just simply too much phone time, too much screen time, and with over 3 hours in this, because I do think 3 hours is the most egregious, at least at this point. In this case, you start with a lot of work with plenty of screen time. This is like the biggest issue you're facing. There's plenty of issues you could be facing, but think about the biggest one you are, whether that's the screen time you have, the food you eat, or the habits you don't do. In particular, let's say exercising or going out and getting sunlight. These habits are what determine your best input. And these inputs will allow you to be more consistent on this field of writing. Now, taking in this notion of these self-improvement topics to build a better book is a lot, especially when you're trying to look at the full picture. When you see the full picture, you need to go from a starting point and get to the end point here. So let's just focus on one of these habits. Let's start on screen time and how 3 hours is a lot. The best way to start breaking it down is to just simply take the habits you have and showcase it in an easy, minute manner. Let's see the phone. The phone can be easily taken and put away in a certain room all the while you're working. If you have a similar desk to me with like a laptop here, you can have your phone in a whole different room just by making sure that it's out. Close the door, charge your phone, and just put it in an uncomfortable spot, whether that's between the couch cushions or underneath a table. By then, you'll completely forget about your phone and you'll just focus on the book. But let's say there's a huge problem with the laptop you're working with. This is another situation you can counter simply by closing out the tabs and putting in blockers here and there. We need to have this healthy balance of making sure you get from this point, this low point you're starting with at this video, and ending up at this high point several months from now, simply because it allows you to finish your book. As an author, this is what's advised, and as a healthy writer that I am, I want to showcase that you do these healthy habits on top of writing. Now, writing has many incentives and how to focus on it. Sometimes a lot of it is just for the craft, but others are for money. Whatever the case is, you still want to focus on that end goal. I know people say enjoy the process and avoid the goal. And yes, that is true. You want to sit on your goals as well. You want to get that monetary gain and just in particular, just the fun and thrill of it all. This is your journey. It's by fixing up all these habits on top of writing. Writing is the supreme habit that I felt the need to share to the world. And by having this more educated sense, we can fix ourselves so that we could build a better book. Therefore, more smarter people. It doesn't matter what book you're going to write, so long as you can get people to learn and educate themselves with certain words, certain stories, and certain messages, you can tell something truly special that will shape anyone who reads it. Therefore, we build a better society in that case. Now, this has to start small. We're not going to change complete lives. But coming from someone as an author and you yourself wanting to write a story, more likely fiction than nonfiction, but in both cases, this is the key to success. Key to success isn't exactly what book you're writing. It's rather what you do on top of it. Burnout is something very much real, but it's also something we perceive in our minds. Our minds give a lot of space and a lot of density to think about things. When we write, we have a lot of loose ideas that will just jumble left and right and back and forth. You can see this especially in my own comments where I've seen many authors and many writers struggle with having their own issues. Comment down below your own issues and the people down there will gratefully help you. So long as you can have both this healthy balance of both writing and the information, you can get through what is needed. But again, the habits you do to get through with this burnout are affected in your real life. The book isn't the problem. It's you, the author. Your issue is that you're not fixing up the problems you're delegating with. If you aren't fixing up these problems shown on the paper, then you're not going to end up on that end goal. If we want to make sure you get to that end goal, the key to success is, again, displaying this whole breakage of habits. Let's call this the 80-20 rule. You have 80% of your life and 80% of your energy that is taken and sapped away by something that only takes 20%. This is shown in phones, this is shown in food, and this is shown in stuff like exercise and sleep. It's good to stay on top of this balance by making sure that you can stay healthy, because the more likely you're healthier with a sharper mind, the less likelihood you'll make worse content. If that makes sense, it's just the simple terms of making sure that you can do more healthy stuff for less negative outcomes. That's why personally I haven't been on this track of writing. I haven't been on this track of making content for you, but I know that there is an incentive involved. There's an incentive to make sure that you could have the information coming from me so I could express it to you, the author. And by making sure you could have this information, your book will be finished before you even know it. You'll have something fully finished and fully to grasp on for so much time simply because you're thanking your past self for fixing up these problems. The final thing I want to demonstrate with this video is to prioritize the goal. There's many different forms of key to successes, and likewise, by fixing up these healthy habits, we can get from one point to another. But again, it's just getting through with the incentives. Why do you want to write your book in the first place? Write it down on a piece of paper or just talk about it with a friend, someone close nearby. As you explain why you want to write your goal, the incentives become clear. Is it for monetary reasons? Is it to sell it as an ebook? Is it to sell it in fictional? No. Is it to sell it in physical and copies? Whatever the case is, you can have so much more information gathered so that it can prove to yourself that you have the purpose to write. Burnout comes not because we're mentally stressed, but because we're mentally lost. We're lost in the case that we don't know what to do next. And with that in mind, it's a scary thing to keep in mind, simply because a lot of our own writing is scary. A lot of it is just terrifying to shout out. But really, that's just how we perceive it. If we want to showcase the best kind of writing and the best author, we have to focus on that damn goal. We have to focus and hone in on what matters and own it with full pride and energy. Having that healthy balance will be the key to your success, and prioritizing that goal will be the key that not only unlocks that success, but will also give us the demonstration to make a good book. If that's what you want, then follow with that path. Fix all the small things in your life and just start small. Start with the phone, start with the food, and then build on top of it. The more you stay on this path, the better your writing will be. And this is why many authors choose to do the wrong things, because it's so hard to stay on this path. It's so easy to use AI. It's so easy to just look up passages and copy and paste it, when in all actuality, it's just your own life you need to fix. Hope this video can help, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but I just want to support you in this path so we can gather much more intelligent and greater people. As long as we can have a better society, this is what my contribution is, and I want to share this out to you. If you enjoyed what you watched, then continue watching the other videos. I know it was a lot less writing and more just staying on top of it, but again, it's just those small habits that will influence your writing. It's not what you say that matters, it's what you do. And I hope you can take that information in mind moving into the future. If you want to check me out more, there's my Instagram down below, along with my other socials. If you want to see exactly how I wrote my first book and the other books I'm currently writing, you can, the top link of the description. If you don't have anything to say, keep on watching, keep on reading, keep writing and reading, and until next time, take care.